Hi, welcome to valuationpodcast.com, a podcast and video series about all things related to business and valuation. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I provide divorce, mediation, and valuation services in St. Louis, Missouri. Today, we'll discuss business value drivers with John Warilow. He is the founder of the Value Builder System, which is a practice management software for business advisors. And he has a best-selling book called Built to Sell, Creating a Business That Can Thrive Without You. It was recognized by both Fortune and Inc. magazine as one of the best business books and has been translated into 12 languages. He's also written a few more books that we'll talk to you later about. But prior to founding the Value Builder System, he started and exited 4 different companies, including one acquired by a public company. He lives with his family in Toronto, and you can follow him by signing up at builttosell.com. He also has a podcast, and we'll talk more about that as well. When people start to sell, they always think it's the price. And it's like, well, the price wasn't there. Instead, it's a lot of other things. It's the legacy of your company. It's, who is it culturally right? A lot of times when people go to sell their company, they're like, we got to get the price up to here. And then, you get it there. And then they're like, well, are you going to keep all my people?
Right.
Are you going to continue to do good service like I do? Are you going to continue to? And I was like, whoa. You don't get to tell them how they do any of that.
Yeah. They're buying your business.
You get to pick the price. Now, if you want to pick, and so then they go back and they look at the top 3 buyers and they're like, well, maybe we would go with these guys. Maybe they're not the highest price, but they're the best fit. Right. And so I think people don't understand when you go down this to sell the business, it is a huge emotional thing and it's a financial thing. But when it comes right down to it, sometimes that price isn't everything. It is the starting.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think there's 2 questions people need to answer is what's my business worth? And they can ask that question of you and you can give them a direct answer. The other question though is perhaps slightly more nuanced and maybe more interesting in some ways. And that is, what's your business worth to you? That's a different question. What's your business worth and what's your business worth to you? And for some people, let me put it this way. When your business is worth more to the market, in other words, Melissa says it's worth X and you think about your own number and you're like, wow, it's worth that. Well, it sure ain't worth that to me. That's a great time to sell, right? Mm-hmm. And equally, if it's worth more to you for psychological reasons, maybe for cash flow reasons, maybe for all kinds of other reasons, than it's worth in the market, it's not a good time to sell. You're going to be disappointed. I'm reminded of a guy I interviewed on Built Radio, a guy named Sean Oshman, and he built a little IT services business based in Denver, Colorado, a couple million in revenue, not a big business, right? And Sean reached his 39th birthday and he had a kind of an epiphany. And he said, you know what, 40 is a big milestone birthday. I want to really change things up. And he'd always had a vision board of a sailboat. And he always sort of had this kind of fantasy of living on a sailboat. And so he said to himself on his 39th birthday, by my 40th birthday, I want to live on a sailboat. And this is a guy who lives in Denver. Like there isn't an ocean within 1,000 miles, right? And so that's his goal. So he hires a broker. Broker comes back and gets him an offer. I think it was about 2.6 times SDE, seller's discretionary earnings. So like, a pretty average multiple for a kind of a small service business. And I interviewed Sean and I said, but Sean, like 2.6 times, wasn't a huge multiple. You could have stayed 3 years and kind of put all that profit in your jeans. Like, how do you feel about the exit? And he's like, oh, I'm super happy. And I'm like, but it was only 2.6 times. And he's like, yeah, but I live on a sailboat. Mm-hmm. And it was always, it kind of hit me between the eyes when he said that, but it's always stuck with me as important as the conversation about valuation is. I own a company called Value Builder, so it's kind of a big deal for me. I have to always remember that the happiest entrepreneurs after they sell are ones who have something they're going to, right? Mm-hmm. And having pull factor, something you're excited to go do next, live on a sailboat, write a book, get fit, whatever, run a marathon. If you've got really clear goals, valuation becomes somewhat secondary, right? Mm-hmm. Because you've got somewhere to go. Whereas if you're just kind of eking out, every last dollar from your business and you're going to go sit on a rocking chair and sip lemonade and talk about how the good old days were, it's a recipe for disaster. No matter how much you get for your company, I think you will sit back and regret it. You'll wonder, could I gotten more? Should I have treated my employees better? Like, you'll have all the money in the world, but none of the peace of mind that comes from being excited to go do something in the future. So I think it would really help people to think about, what are my pull factors? What are the things I'm excited to go do? And if you can codify those, write them down, really get clear on them, you may find that your business is worth more to the market than it is to you right now, based on all the exciting things you want to go do. And I think that's a great time to sell.
And I've talked to clients just like you've said, and they're like, well, if I just stay in the business for 3 to 5 years, I would get the same amount of money. I said, okay, well, let's do that. Why don't you continue to run the business for 3 to 5 years? You'll make that money. And then whatever you sell at that point will be icing on the cake. And they're like, yeah, but it's so stressful. Yeah, but I'm so tired. Right. And I'm like, okay, well, let's figure out what is the difference that you're going to make by working that 3 to 5 years. And is it worth it? Because again, a business owner just needs the facts to make the decisions, so the facts, a $5 million deal to you could mean completely something different, a $5 million deal to somebody else. And that's fine. You make those decisions based on it.